Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hi, my name is Vivian Acquah, and I am a certified diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. And today I'm together with Mary Jane. Mary Jane, do you mind introducing yourself?
Well, okay, I will. Mary Jane Roy, and as you can see, my company name is Creating Waves. And welcome, everybody. Vivian and I have this chat. We try to do it once a month at least, picking on topics that resonate with us from the previous month.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, first about myself. I'm a trainer, facilitator, speaker, uh, advisor in the areas of developing strategies for stress and resilience within the corporate world. And I've been doing this since 2011. Uh, I am also in the last few years really gotten more involved in the DEI world, and a lot of that is due to Vivian, to my connection with her. We met December 2017, and a friendship started, and here we are,
It was
2023.
earlier than that. It was I
No,
don't
no, it
I'm
was December 2017.
Oh,
No.
you looked it up. So
Yeah.
I've been having different conversations in the back with Mary Jane Roy, and sometimes these conversations are worthy of sharing with other people, right? So one of the conversations that we were having was recently we both were at the Supplier European Supplier Diversity event that was held in Amsterdam, and one of the sessions that I did was talking about amplifying empathy when it comes to procurement, right? Inclusive procurement. We are both entrepreneurs, suppliers, and the conversation that I was having there was about how to build bridges, how empathy strengthens relationship in supplier diversity, understanding that the different stakeholders, engaging with each other, whether it's the company, whether it's the minority supplier, right? Those are different stakeholders with different mindsets. So we want to demystify some of the things, some of the challenges that we were facing or we have faced in the past or other people have faced in the past, to demystify a few things. The conversation was really good. Mary Jane also shared her perspective from the supply diversity perspective as well, into the different things that we encounter as professionals. And the more that we demystify, the more that we can amplify empathy when it comes to connecting with suppliers or connecting with big companies, as maybe the company that you're working for at the moment right now.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
Yeah, first of all, it was a great conversation that you
Mm-hmm.
had. And it really brought to light, and there were a number of entrepreneurs also in the room, as well as a lot of people from large organizations, supply chain organizations. Um, and I think one of the things that really came out in what you shared, Vivian, is
Mm-hmm.
the fact that there's the perception of these large organizations and the rules and regulations
Yeah.
that they have to follow in their normal course of business, working with other businesses and larger concerns,
Yeah.
it overwhelms the solo entrepreneur or the small business
True.
owner. And I think you highlighted really well some of those concerns, and maybe you want to share what
Yes, definitely.
from your
So,
perspective.
I'm lucky to have some of somewhat legal background, and I'm also lucky to have a legal professional within my team, and also my partner is very good in reading contracts, right? But sometimes when in the past when I used to get a contract like 10 pages, first of all, and reading things in a language that isn't normal, and also reading things as a person who has mild dyslexia, it's challenging. So in the end, I got to highlight a few things, and then I gave it back to my partner, and he also highlighted a few things, saying that the contract that was given to me, it seems like the organization is dealing with a big corporation, whilst I'm not a big corporation. It's me, myself, and I, and a few professionals working within my team as well, where we were challenged with being fined if our website wasn't accessible, or we were challenged with me being able to pay my team. And predominantly, I don't have an employee within my team. I only work with freelancers, just out of keeping things simple. But also, I'm not at a stage yet where I can hire somebody full time, right? So that's also a different case. And I've told this story multiple times. Like, sometimes when small business owners are engaging with big corporation, it feels like the David and Goliath. Eventually,
Mm.
David will win, but it can also cripple and stifle people to engage with you, right? Why not demystifying the road to procurement? So what I tend to do now, especially when I'm engaging with a company that's new, a lead that is new, or a client that is new, I ask them about, how does your procurement journey looks like, right? What do I need to do? What do you want from me? How can we smoothen the process so that we can walk along the line to learn to create a sustainable relationship?
Yeah, yeah, and I think if they could simplify their
Mm,
processes,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
they're not purchasing products from us, although that could
yeah,
be the case. I
yeah,
mean, in a supply chain within an organization, they're also obviously they're not just hiring in services, but
yeah,
they're they're purchasing products. Those products
yeah,
need to work. So the the simplifying it for somebody who's giving a training within the
yeah,
organization is very different process than you're purchasing 1,000 new computers. Um,
true.
so those kinds of considerations, if companies can start to think in terms, because the small business owner is just not equipped to deal with uh, the complexities
Yeah,
of these requirements. I remember this was just this year, one of my larger clients, and it was the first time I was doing something for them. And they wanted me to get a letter from the bank
yeah.
stipulating,
Oh, that one I know.
yeah, stipulating that the bank account that I've had
Yeah.
for 15, 14 years is really an active bank account.
Hmm.
And I still don't understand the rationale behind this request. But when I called the bank, I found out that it would cost an extra, I think it was 180 euros.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I had already done the work for the company because it was done very quickly. So
Hmm.
trying to get paid, this whole thing delayed the process of
Yeah.
getting a PO number. Uh, that hadn't come prior to my giving the training. It was a 2 week window, which wasn't enough time for them to get the PO number ready, apparently.
Hmm.
And so it really delayed receiving payment from
Yeah.
me. And in the end, they absolved me from having to get that document because I said I would have put it into my budget.
Yeah.
You're asking me to pay now 180 euros in order
Yeah.
to get paid for services I've already rendered.
Hmm.
So it isn't fair. And I was really polite in my emails. And even the woman that I was dealing with, this is a huge global company, she said, I have to thank you. So,
Yeah, and that's
yes,
also very valuable, right? I'm currently navigating this similar journey with a client where I've told this person that it sometimes can be challenging when connecting with a new big corporate client that has a huge procurement department. So she thought, or this person thought, that I could easily send an email with the invoice, but she was called back from the procurement department saying that we need to, walk the line. And this person, knowing this, she also said, like, okay, we need to do something about this because this isn't right. This is not the way that I want to support you, but I understand, and now I understand your story better, right? Last year, I wrote 2 articles about amplifying empathy within procurement, and Mary Jane, you were highlighting one of the things that, uh, as solo entrepreneurs or as small business owners, yes, we do have some, savings in the bank, but know that the invoice that you're paying, it's also paying for innovation. It's our salary, it's our taxes, it's so much more that is sometimes it feels like our income is being held hostage
Mm-hmm.
when we are not paid on time, or when we are paid 60 days or 90 days later. And the bigger corporations, they have the bandwidth to, use their savings or to wait that long. Know that a smaller corporation, it's similar to your income, right? If you were an employee within a company, would you be able to wait 2 or 3 months to get your salary from the summer? I
Yeah,
don't think so.
yeah. And another thing that I think is really important to highlight in this conversation is the um, having adequate budgets.
Mm. Ooh,
There is, I think, a misperception out there that hiring in a trainer, and perhaps it's only for an hour and a half
yeah.
session,
It
a one
may
and a half hour
seem for an
session.
hour and a half, right?
Exactly. But what's going on behind the scenes? I had one client, also a very large corporation, where the part of the hiring team to bring me in, she said, "You're charging lawyers' fees." She was a lawyer herself.
Yeah,
Uh, she said, "You're charging lawyers' fees," and I said, "It may look like it if you look at the fact I'm going to be there for 4 hours."
yeah,
I said, "But you have to take the proposal writing, the time that I invested in the presentation, the amount of money I've spent in training, in developing myself." I said, all of these things add into my price that I'm charging.
yeah,
And I said, I won't veer from it. I said, this is these, in fact, and this was late last year. And I
yeah,
said, these are the same prices that I have now that I had pre-COVID. I said, I've not raised my fees. I said, I'm not going to, uh,
which you should, which
discount.
you should, which you should, because we all feel the load of
Yeah, the
inflation.
changes. Yeah,
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, and but at that moment, that was the reality. And I
hmm,
said, I won't discount, because that's what they were looking for. They
yeah,
wanted me to negotiate on my fee, and I said I won't do it.
yeah,
I've really carefully thought this over. This is what I charge. This
hmm,
is the value I'm bringing to the table. And
yeah,
the next day, I got an email saying you're in. So,
yeah,
I didn't have to concede. But I must say, if you come to a trainer with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in their field, and you expect them to do this for 1,000 euros, for example,
hmm,
it,
hmm.
it's it's you're that
And
just isn't.
also what I want to say is the value that we bring, right? I know from myself and definitely Mary Jane, when we come in for an assignment, it's not only that you're walking away. I most of the times I add extra value to support the client, because it's not about checking the tick box as in doing a
Mhm.
presentation or doing a keynote. It's also about how are they putting things in action. That's how where I stand from, and I know that Mary Jane is similar to me in that regards, that you want to set a client up for success so that whatever is shared, it has a sustainable journey, as well as not it not being just a tick box exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the ways I do that as well is I give a really detailed digital summary after
Mm-hmm.
any
Yeah,
presentation I give,
yeah,
and because I want the conversations to keep going,
yeah,
especially if I'm working doing this in a team
mm-hmm.
situation. that
Yeah,
it, and stress still a taboo topic.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's getting more and more that we can talk about mental health and how we're
Yeah,
feeling, etc. But still, it's
finally.
it's yes, finally, it is a taboo topic. So by having
Yeah,
this conversation starter, is what I call it,
yeah,
you can keep that conversation going within with your colleagues, within your team.
yeah.
So that takes several hours to put together as well after a presentation. you know.
Yeah.
I'm not recreating every single time, but I know that what I've shared verbally that isn't in my slides, because I have minimum amount of information on the slides. It's usually images. I think you do that too, Vivian. So
Mm-hmm.
for them to really walk away with something tangible, yeah, this all adds in. And you know, I after there was an article last year, I think it was in maybe it was earlier this year on LinkedIn, um, written by she's a writer, proposal writer, I think, possibly. But anyway, it really set me to thinking about this topic, because she said, as trainers and solo entrepreneurs, you know, are you asked to do things for free? And, you know, you're given a
Mm-hmm.
bottle of wine or a bouquet of flowers or whatever. And I loved what one fellow shared in in that post, and that was, uh, uh, he, he said, I told the group, it was a network that they'd asked me to come and speak at, and they asked me to do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if everyone in the room donates what, I forget what he asked, let's say 1 week of their salary to
Mm-hmm.
this charity, then I'd be willing to come and do it for free.
Yeah.
And he didn't hear back from the organization.
Yeah.
They're willing for you to come in and give up your payment, but
Yeah.
you're not willing to give
To be
up
invest as well. But
yeah,
we also need to honor, you know, the title of the show about creating that win-win, where it's important also to benefit from working and collaborating with suppliers with diverse backgrounds, right? So
yeah,
for
yeah,
myself, I can explain a little bit about myself. I am a DEI consultant who specializes, I'm more of a DEI generalist. I'm also neurodivergent. I am a Black woman. I am at the moment dealing with a temporary disability as well, where I'm able to share my story, but also accumulate other people's stories and create an activating session where people can walk away with something tangible, but also can feel inspired without dealing with the heavy load of DEI, right? Sometimes people
mm,
can feel overwhelmed, and I try to make it bite-sizable, whereas you can you can also diversify the different trainers that we are having, right? That's also one of the reasons why I created in the past I created the Amplify DEI Summit, that diversity doesn't end with just hiring one speaker or hiring just one person, right? I have Mary Jane on the other side, who is an older woman who talks about ageism in so many ways, who talks about well-being in so many ways, right? So think about how what you're missing within your company, how you can inspire your people, how you can motivate your people, activate your people, so that they first of all, so that your organization can win, so that your team can win, but also so that the individuals can win and create that productive environment, inclusive environment for your company to be able to win. Did I
yeah,
miss something?
yeah. No, I don't think so. I think you covered it all, and
Hmm.
simplifying the process for these
Yes. Yeah.
smaller, diverse companies is really going to be to your advantage, and it also is just good business.
Yeah.
From what I understand, clients of organizations are demanding that there be a diverse supply chain,
Yeah.
and it's becoming more and more. I mean, look at the two conferences we've attended in
Hmm.
September,
Yeah.
both of well, September and October,
Yeah.
with the EUSD, and then also
Hmm.
the LEAD network event
Yeah.
that was in Düsseldorf last week. Um, you know, these are really big topics right
Yeah.
now. Um, to
And these
have a
are
look
also
at
low
this,
hanging fruit for your organization to
yeah,
think about. Of all the spending that you do, if you reserve a percentage, I'm not going to dictate how much, but let's say between 1% to 10%, or maybe 15%, and be have a dedicated budget for amplifying suppliers from a diverse background, culturally background, or age background, right? Or from a disability perspective,
Mhm.
supporting them as well. You will see a different change. You will see your, first of all, your employer branding being hyped because of the fact that you are investing in different people. It's free advertising as well, because for me, it's very easy to share things online, especially when a session went very well. People connect that with your brand as an organization as well, but also you're creating a huge impact when you're hiring people from different backgrounds as well.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the again, I want to really, and I hope that is part of this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but it's understanding, and you mentioned it, in fact, in this session, the talk that you gave at
Yeah.
the EUSD, um, and that is that as solo entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
especially, we wear a lot of different hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that we do has to be calculated into the fee that we charge.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was triggered by, that article that I mentioned that was on LinkedIn, that I gave the example of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Afterwards, I sat down and I thought, okay, what are all the different aspects that go into being a trainer? And I wrote them down.
Mm-hmm.
So, a salary commensurate with expertise. You
Yeah.
would expect that if you're an employee. Research on possible vendors for a particular project. You get paid for that. The acquisition that you're doing for the company,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's all part of your meeting with the vendor. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
And not meeting
all
once, meeting
no,
multiple times with them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Writing reports,
Yeah.
uh, you know, doing the expenses, etc.
Mm-hmm.
All of that comes under your salary, and
Yeah.
these are so many different aspects that you have to appreciate that small businesses and entrepreneurs need to build in. And again, also when we're doing larger projects that we've hired in colleagues to work with us, uh, they'd like to get paid in a timely manner.
Yeah.
So all of these factors, I really hope that anyone who's in the supply chain and is has the ability to start digging deeper into how you can make the process simpler.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also want to share two examples because I'm not going to name the client, but in this case, I was hired for a summit a while ago. And this summit has different speakers. I shared my pricing, and then my client told me, like, I need to be fair. I need to, because this summit is about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it wouldn't be just for me if I didn't tell you that the pricing that you shared isn't equitable, because other speakers were asking more. So then I was open and honest, say, okay, what is the range, right? Oftentimes, from a different perspective, I see other people being hired for so much more. I mean, in the US, it's very common to hire, those who have established themselves, hire them for a keynote where they're doing a 30-minute keynote. And of course, I'm not discrediting their expertise, but they're doing a 30-minute keynote for $20,000. And I'm just like, okay, I'm,
Mhm.
I'm, I'm, I'm going to that direction though in the future. Putting it out there, manifesting it, but still, um, I find it so, I don't know, inspirational that this person came back to me and said
Yeah.
that you need to do something with your pricing, ask a little bit more, because your pricing, it's not in the middle, it's below.
Mm.
And this is the part where I also want to challenge different businesses, different clients, that you create an equitable system by creating equity. Be open about your budget. If you
Yeah, the
don't know your
transparency.
budget,
Yeah, yeah,
ask it before you approach people, so that at least you know that it's within the scope. But also, as a supplier or as a small business owner, I can also do my due diligence by asking a few questions ahead, so that I know that this client is for me. And if it's not for me, then I can always direct them to somebody else. If the amount is
hmm,
really lower, then I can, help them. But if the amount is so low that I wouldn't even reach out to my colleague, then no. So
yeah.
create a sustainable budget for the inspiration that you want to walk away with, but also know that I can say my age. I'm 43. I've accumulated so many expertise from now. You're not only getting a DEI person, but you're getting more, because I'm bringing all the experiences in me, and I'm a neurodivergent person who doing too much, as people can see, right? I am currently also busy with almost done with cooking back to our roots. There are so many much more that you're getting, but when you look at my
I don't. I'm gathering that it's Vivian. I was just thinking that I got bumped out, and so I'm not quite sure what to do because I'm not the host of this show. But let me see if I can go back in.
she's
And
back.
hey, you're back. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was just going
Oh
to close
my
out. I
god,
thought
this
I was the
never happened
one
to
who
me.
dropped out, and then I realized it was still recording. Oh, that's a first.
I'm so glad that it was recording, but I don't like Google Chrome at the moment right now. It just dropped out. It's just can you share to which part you heard me, so that I can think
Well,
about.
oh God, no, yeah, my mind is all. um, I can't pick the thread up. Maybe somebody who's watching can help
Mhm.
and listening. But no, I got so flustered.
There's a first for everything. There is a first for
There's a
everything, right?
first.
There's a
Yeah,
first for
there
everything.
is
I'm
a
glad
first.
that I was able to come back in, because I was just like, no, it might have canceled. So glad that it's still there. No, what I was
Yeah.
talking about was the the experience that we have,
Oh
and
yeah.
we come
Mm.
with so much knowledge. We come with so much experiences. We come with so much low hanging fruit
Passion,
options,
passion.
solution, and passion, of course, passion, that we put our whole heart and soul in this journey that we are embarking with you. And I'm an empathic trainer. Mary Jane is an empathic trainer, where we bring our whole self to the workplace to support your organization to become more inclusive, or amplify well-being as well. And I want you to consider that as well. I had a
Yeah.
whole speech, and I was talking and talking and
Well, you
talking, and
did,
all of a
and
sudden I noticed that my Chrome tab was frozen.
yeah, no, but your voice was still coming through. So
Good.
yeah, no, that was, but your image was frozen.
Yeah,
That was the only thing. But we could still hear you
good.
sharing. And it's interesting because I just commented on a post of a colleague
Mm-hmm.
yesterday or the day before on LinkedIn with. He was expressing his gratitude to his clients as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, and how each and every client is so very important. And I added in that acknowledging also the gratitude that we have as solopreneurs for our clients. I
Mm-hmm.
also added that and that's why I jumped in with the word passion.
Yeah.
Um, we bring a different level of expertise
Mm-hmm.
that somebody I think internally who's told, oh, you're going to be giving a DEI training, or you're going to be, giving a training on stress, or, a resilience training.
Yeah.
The, 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 the elements that we bring in, and I know you've named some of them, but passion is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I do the work I do, and I focus on the topics that really mean something, that
Yeah.
speak to my heart. All right. And I'm just not sure, if that same element is there when it's part of your job description. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
and I
saying.
don't want to
Also,
denigrate any trainers internally, but I think it's something that organizations need to think about.
mm-hmm.
Um, when they're saying, making a decision, we're going to do all of our training internally,
Yeah.
versus, hiring in someone from
Yeah.
outside. It is so much more than just a trainer that you're
Yeah.
hiring in for the most
You're
part.
hiring somebody who has seen different companies, different cultures, different
Yeah.
departments, different structures, different leadership styles, where we can directly, put things into perspective. And when
Mm-hmm.
people are asking me for advice, I know what to say at that moment. Where, of course, I've accumulated many knowledge, many, having done many trainings and workshop, that you get to learn to, I wouldn't say read people, because that would not be honorable, or would not, I don't want to activate my own unconscious bias when I'm doing this, but you know how to support people with the things that
Mm-hmm.
they need, right? You know how to, during a call, I already know that, okay, they need this, I can give them this, I can do that and do that and do that, so that you are able to support them in a sustainable manner. That's
Yeah.
the main key. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I really hope and maybe we can also share this link with some of the people that we know that are working in the supply chain.
Yeah, please,
Just
no,
to,
please share them.
yeah,
Please share that,
I'm just
because
thinking to get the word out and
mhm,
help ease this process.
yeah,
And Yeah, there was 2 years ago, and again, it's just this process of trying to get a purchase order number. Again, it was a client that came onto my path and needed support quite quickly. Um, it took 3 months to get a purchase order number. You
true.
know.
But then I also wonder, and this is from me putting a hat on from the procurement
Hmm.
perspective, because I used to be a financial consultant, where I learned how the procurement side looks like. That
Hmm.
I do believe that the company and the procurement team needs to do a better job in informing internal people about what the procedure
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
If you have different scenarios, share that with them, so that they don't just reach out to people, give me a little bit of false hope, and then getting called back, and then wait until 90 days. So, beginning this year, I wrote a whole, I would say, a heartbreaking story about a situation where I did the work in November with a client, with a US client, and we never talked about the payment fee, or we talked about the payment fee, but how I got paid, right? I
hmm,
made the assumption that they will pay me via credit card, and the wording, check did come out, but I was just like, but we don't accept checks in Europe, so how are they going to pay me? Eventually, I had to take a few steps, uh, discussed it with my contact, then the manager, and then somebody from procurement, and then somebody from finance, because they sent over the check, a $10,000 check. I'm just going to put it out loud, a $10,000 check for training, a few trainings that I did, where I was just like, but the check coming through the mail with this high amount, it is. I don't know what to do
mind-boggling.
with it, but I couldn't do anything with the check, because in Europe we don't
Yeah,
accept US checks
yeah,
anymore. So I would rather have you provide me a virtual credit card, which one of my clients did. Everything was there, and it was amazing. Otherwise, a credit card, or provide a different system so that the smaller suppliers can use that. Be
Yeah.
open, be transparent about it. Share it on your website. What are the steps that I need to take so that we can speed up the process and you can pay me within 30 days. In Europe, in the Netherlands, it's common to pay people within 30 days. Earlier,
Yeah.
we like earlier, but 30 days is a good preference.
Well, I think it's even in the Netherlands now. It's part of the law, isn't it, for
Yeah,
small,
it's a
medium?
law.
Yeah, it's a law. You can't, unless you've signed a contract that
Yeah,
states that you'll get
yeah,
paid, you agree to get paid a
yeah,
longer term.
yeah,
But it's actually, yeah, required to be
yeah.
paid. But oh well, okay. I think we've made our points, don't you, Vivian?
I think so too. I think so too. And I'm looking forward to do a November session where we are going to reflect on
Okay,
2023.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be
sounds
an
good.
interesting conversation. So if you have any questions or any suggestions that you want us to talk about, share them in the comments as well.
And
And
Vivian, I just had an idea.
yeah,
Maybe you could put the links to the posts that you've
yeah,
or articles that you've written on
I will
LinkedIn.
definitely share that.
Put
Yes.
those in, and if
Yeah,
I can find the link to that article that I was referring to,
yeah,
um, I mean, it got such a high views, but the comments from the trainers to anybody in procurement, the comments from the trainers will give you an indication of the frustrations that we meet
yeah,
up with, you know.
yeah.
So yeah, I'll
And
see if I
those
can find that link.
frustrations can be mitigated when we learn how to apply empathy from both ends, right? So this is
Yes, yeah,
not a complaint towards companies or towards procurement departments that you're not doing your job. We are just sharing our experiences so that we can um, deepen that relationship or create an inclusive relationship or even create a sustainable relationship
hmm,
so that we can both win. The different
yeah,
stakeholders want to win. I want you to win. I hope that you want us to win so that we can support you in the best way that we can.
exactly. Well, I think that makes a really great closing statement.
Yes. Thank you, Mary Jane. Until next time.
Thank you, Vivian. Okay. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.